Chapter 11, The Gamble. So you've spent the last few weeks on the road on the way to the war front, and it's almost time for you guys to, actually get there, actually meet up with the people that you're supposed to. Just walking your way through a huge, dense forest when you're on spotting duty. You end up seeing a guy flagging you down, staying in the middle of the road, telling you guys to pull off to the side. This is right about the rally point, so this should be where you need to go. Charlie's steering the tank, and he's asking what's going on because you have been silent for a minute. Anyway, you kind of like signal back to him with your flags because you know how to do the flag thing too. You ask him what he's doing and why he's flagging you down, to which he communicates back like, this is the rally point, pull over, off to the side of the road into the field with the other deer. Less words are used, but that's the general gist of what he's got there. And Charlie asks what you would like to do from there. What rally are we talking? So when I'm saying rally point, this is like a military thing. Like when you want everyone to go and do an action, engage with the enemy to some degree, you usually want them all to show up to the same place at the same time, and then have an organized push from there. It's not a rally race. You guys are organizing for war. That's what I mean. Yes. You instruct Charlie to go ahead and pull the deer over to the clearing off to the side, and in the clearing, there's already a few deer that are just there chilling as people scurry about and do their things. There's one that's got the banner of the council over it, and then another one that's got the sanguinary line flag. There's a small cut in the bushes that leads off to the trenches that they've dug. As far as the last signals that you were able to get, last information you were able to get, the rally point is here because it is believed that's where the leader of the Black Politeris is. And so, yeah, one of the mice from the bushes comes over and kind of flags you down specifically. It says, "Hey, you must be Bree. You're the hero of St. Greg's Place. Your attention is required by the in the war room. Try petting a deer. You pet a deer. You can pet your own deer. Why not? You cry a little bit. Ask if they have cigars. I don't smoke, sir. I'm just a standard issue soldier. What do they want me for? I'm not a hero. I'm just a little guy. I'm just running around." Well, they seem to think that you're important, so if we can get your attention there. Petting is a free action, as is crying. Can we pet the little guy? You're the little guy. I don't know as if you can pet yourself. Chat, confirm, deny. Can you pet yourself? And is it weird? Would you like to pet your own head, like a normal person do? Yes. Okay, sure. So you pat yourself on the head. Everyone considers this weird. You're led around to the, there's a bit of a cut in the bushes where the trench begins, and they've got this little entrance down into the trenches proper. Off in the distance is some sort of fortification. Who's going in the room with us? They specifically asked for your attention. Charlie has stayed behind to tend to the deer, make sure that it's all set up, and everyone else is just gonna go and get orders elsewhere, figure out what's actually going on. But our emotional support comrades in arms, they specifically asked for you to come down into the war room. As you're entering the trench, following behind this guy who got your attention, little bit of gunfire goes out trying to catch you as you're going in, but you make it into the trench without getting hit. But they are definitely trying to get you as you're trying to get in. Yeah, they keep trying to hit us, but just as long as you stay in the trench, you should be fine. You're led towards the war room, which is just sort of a small section, a bunker section of the trench that has some curtains in front of it. Pushing inside brings you to the war room proper. Inside is two gentlemen that you don't recognize and King Ava of the sanguinary line. Somehow ended up making it there before you. Fairly dark in there, but who is this king? This is you'll remember him as the guy who bitch slapped you real fucking hard the last time you met him because you didn't address him properly and didn't treat him with enough respect. He didn't teleport, he just happened to be riding the same direction as you. As you come in, he goes, "To be clear, everyone just for some reason respects you, so I expect you to shut up and sit down and not get in the way. We're planning how exactly we're going about this." He's not the king of your kingdom, to be clear. laid out in front of them is a map of the surrounding area. So I'm going to explain this map a bit, and then we can talk about it some. So in the very center there's a little piece that represents the unknown forces that are inside the line. The place where you got stopped and told to turn off the road is over on the left side. You'll see the road, and then there's a little pond there. And then you can see a bunch of little deer markers for where they're stationed right now. There's a trench line that goes all the way around the outside of the fortification they've got. And then there's little like boxy things to represent the different war room or you know, bunkers that you've got. And then on the inside, there's 3 pieces representing the different entrances to the place. Which box are we in? You're in the box, left side box, closest to the deer. So you're looking at it as you would be from this position. You can see the king at the top of this image here. You're not playing Warhammer. They're strategizing about how they're going to deal with the situation that's ahead of them. Are the mice pieces our troops? Yes. So you've surrounded a fortress, correct. They're all standing around talking. The person on the left is wearing an outfit that you're not quite familiar with, and considering this is supposed to be a combined arms sort of thing, it's likely that he's from the Garden Wall, which is another region associated with the guy on the right is he's wearing the fatigues of someone from the Falling Moon Kingdom. And then directly in front of you is King Ava from the Sanguinary line. This is a first person image, yes. So it seems like you've come into them having a mid-conversation argument of exactly how they're going to deal with this situation. The man from the Falling Moon Kingdom says, okay, so we've got the situation, we've got them surrounded, and they've been surrounded for a week. Now, I think that it's best that if we do push forward, that we push forward with a deer assault first, and have the infantry follow up behind. It's unlikely that they have any major anti-tank weaponry, so we should be able to make it into the walls fairly easily. The man from the Garden Wall refutes. I think we should hold off. We've got them boxed in. There's absolutely no reason for us to push forward at this point. If we push in, we set ourselves up to possibly have some casualties that we don't need to. We know that they're not getting any supplies, so there's absolutely no way that they're making any sort of gains. They're using their ammo on random pot shots at us. Attrition is the way at this point. King Ava is having absolutely none of it and begins just doing his thing and saying, there's absolutely no reason to stop. We should just push in now and push in hard. They're surrounded. We know they're out of ammo. We need to get them while they're at their weakest. If we wait any longer, it's very likely that they've got reinforcements coming. They haven't heard from their king in a while. It's likely that if they haven't, then that means that they are going to be wondering why they haven't gotten any messages recently. I have been in contact with the Merchant Crows, and they did a flyover and said that there is absolutely no that they have defenses going on. They're in there. We've seen him. He's in there. We can get him. Let's just go for this. There's absolutely no reason to wait. I don't think that we should push forward with the deer tank first. If we do, it's very likely that they've got, you know, some sort of traps on the way in, traps that can only be cleared by infantry. I say we push forward with the infantry first, have the deer tanks provide cover fire, and we do this clean and fast before they have a chance to mount a proper defense. King Ava concludes. Vote. What are we voting for? How exactly to address attacking the fortress that the leader of the Black Paw terrorist organization is currently in and is surrounded? Are there rats in addition to mice? Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that they're aware that they're different, but, you know, whatever. The Rat King is, you know, canonically a part of this as a religion, so are they capybaras? I'm sure they are. This does not take place in a portion of the world where capybaras are, like, available. Are the deer small? The deer are deer size. Can we internally ask the Rat King what he thinks of this? The Rat King is all about, like, doing the best for, you know, the collective and, you know, realizing that we're interconnected regardless of who we are. Can we interact with the little map? Sure, you could, you know, pick up pieces and stuff if you'd like. Eat the pieces. Eat the pieces. Consume. While everyone's arguing, you take a second to, like, reach your hand over to try and pick up one of the pieces to eat it. King Ava slaps your hand away, and you go back to sitting in silence. You're here to observe and to make it seem like you're part of this. You state, are you sure there isn't an underground tunnel or some other way that they might be getting supplies, an extra exit from the fortress that we don't know about? Has the surrounding area been properly searched and double-checked? We've had this entire situation, this entire base encircled for at least a week. There's no way that they could have, A, burrowed that far in that amount of time that easily. And even if they had, like, we would have noticed some movement. The guy from the Falling Moon Kingdom says, King Ava, not to question you, sir, but did you say that you had paid the merchant crows to do investigations as flyovers? Yes, and what of it? Isn't that a war crime, sir? Is that something you're going to be reporting to someone? No, sir. Wait, I'm stupid. Why would it be a war crime? It's generally expected that the merchant crows are supposed to be a neutral party, and so it's generally expected that they don't participate in wars. So if they want to have, like, the neutral status that they have to also not do that. They wouldn't shoot randomly if they had no hope of reinforcements, you say. Their shots are trying to get us when we pull in and out of the trenches. They aren't trying to shoot at us when we're just sitting in the trenches themselves. They're being very tactful about when they're shooting. Likely when they were shooting at you, they were just trying to get a pot shot. If they can take down a hero, it would be great. Really good for morale for them and really bad for morale for us. I would expect that you keep your head down. Your Majesty, though, the city could be booby-trapped with high-impact explosives. It could be. It could be. It could be anything. But it's unlikely, considering what was told. The city looks more or less just down to military soldiers and anyone who's supporting them at this point. Pirates don't have morals? These are, first off, A, they do. B, they are not, these are a separate, so there's the Death Head pirates who you've been messing around with quite a bit and who Abe has a specific dislike of. When you were drafted specifically for the fight against the Black Paw terrorists, who are basically just like holding out this area, this region of what is now part of the Garden Wall to try and claim it as their own and kick other people out and are raiding towns and that sort of thing. They're separate from the pirates. The pirates are just fucking around and doing their own thing for no reason because they're assholes like that. I know there might be an exit to the north side, but it's bothering me that there's no there are no so there'd be more trees over there. It's just sort of like they're off a little bit more. There's a bit of a clearing here, and there is no exit out of the north side of the fortress. That is correct. If they do have the area booby-trapped for tanks, I would imagine that we would have seen hide nor hair of that at this point. There's almost no possibility that they have that. If we're going to push in, we better push in with the armor in order to limit casualties. If they take out our heavy armor without us being able to address it, then we will be locked in a fight of infantry versus infantry, and we do not know the sizes of their forces unless if you know something that we don't, King Ava. King glowers at the man a bit as he says that. What was told to me by my contacts, if you will, is that they have a significant force inside the fortress, but they don't have any anti-armor. It's all the more reason that we should push in while we can. Can mice dig? Mice can dig. There are trenches surrounding the place. If we wait, the Garden Wall man again says, if we wait just another week, any sort of food store that they have will be exhausted. There's absolutely no chance that they'll be able to fight us when they're in that weakened state. We'll have an easy fight, and we won't have to take any unnecessary casualties. I don't know why you're so insistent on us pushing forward. King Ava continues to glower at him. If you want to be a coward, then just go back to your own kingdom. We don't need that here. He's acting like he knows. King Ava is generally known as being outright aggressive all of the time. It is not common. In fact, he's the only king out of all the kingdoms who actually insists on being on the front lines. He is one of the most aggressive of the kings for that reason. How did he get elected? That's not how kings work. I love the kappa on that one. What about elective monarchies? I'll tell you right now, I did not include that as a mechanic in this universe. Acting like he knows things he doesn't know and is generally gaslighty and aggressive. I see. You suggest, can we distract them with the tanks from one side when sending in the troops from the other side? We have them completely surrounded. It's actually incredibly possible with the 6 tanks that we'll eventually have available to us to completely encircle and be able to push in from every direction with very little effort. Again, based on if what King Ava is saying is correct, and it is, based on the information that King Ava has given us, it seems like that they have no anti-tank weaponry, which means that they're completely unequipped for this fight if we push in with the tanks. Maybe we should consider sending some sort of reconnaissance spy to just stealth around and get inside. I don't see a... Considering that we get shot at if we try and exit the trenches, it'd take a full all-out push. It's no man's land between us and the fortress. You kind of look at the king and go, you know, you're acting kind of sus. Kind of acting a little suspicious, right? He glowers at you. I think the real case that we have here is that you are all cowards and not willing to push forward and actually make any sort of effort. You realize that this entire council, this entire war effort is predicated on us taking out this one individual. The sooner we do that, the sooner we can go back to our normal lives and our normal situations. I believe you're right with the deer. I think we could very easily push in with the deer with absolutely no consequence, and it'd be just the easiest push. There's nothing they can do to stop us. If there's nothing they can do to stop us, then there's absolutely no reason that we can't wait and just let the attrition set in. They'll take some more pot shots. They won't be able to hit anything. We've had no casualties, aside from standard sickness, to speak of. And even those we've been able to transport out of here. We can keep this up for months if we need to. There's absolutely no reason to rush this. We need to make sure that we get him, and we need to make sure that we don't lose this opportunity. If we push in and we fail in our push, or we take too many casualties, it could be disastrous. I'm going to go ahead and create another poll. Can you explain how a Trojan deer would work? Like, exactly how is that going to be a thing? Like, how do you stealthily give them a deer? I'm not going to let you hop up on the table and piss. Literally not 1984. If they're so helpless, what's the point of rushing in? We might lose it all instead of just winning a little later. And how long do you precisely expect that we should wait? If they have additional forces on their way, which they very well may. Again, there's no way for them to have had communication out, but if they know that they're surrounded, if they haven't had word back from their leader in a while, surely they would come to protect him. I see you're not a man to have patience and wait. You are continuing to piss off King Ava as he tries his best not to immediately assault you again. I don't want a good opportunity slipping through our fingers just because you all are too cowardly to take a good opportunity when it is handed to you on a silver platter. Okay, King, you want to be a brave little boy? You do it. You be the big brave king. You do your solo charge. Bitch. King Ava rounds the table and immediately decks you to the ground. You watch your damn tongue when you are speaking to me. He rounds back to the other side of the table and begins to glower at you again. He sighs and sort of just slams his hand down on the table and he goes, if you all just want to stand here and wait for nothing to happen, then we can do that. With a huff, he leaves the room, leaving you all to just sort of stare at the table again. Okay, bye. Now eat the pieces. There's no one to stop you now. The other two gentlemen stare at you, wondering what you're going to do. If you don't mind, can you just leave those where they are? Do you have additional information or something? Is there a reason that you're doing this? You pick up one of the pieces and attempt to eat it. Everyone's concerned. It's not edible. You leave the war room having successfully attempted to eat one of the pieces and spitting it out because it wasn't very edible. On your way out, you run into a couple of soldiers who are sitting in the trenches, one of which is peering over the trench wall with some binoculars, just trying to get a good look around. He comes down from the wall. Oh, hey, you're Bree, right? The St. Greg's place guy, right? That happens to be true. Whether or not you know, are a guy or not is a different thing, and that's up for y'all to decide. But do the mice know about catapults? The mice know about cannons. You nod. Oh, that's so cool. It's awesome. I'm so glad you're here. Were you just talking to everyone in the war room? Do we have a plan? Are we pushing in? What's going on? I just wanted to say thank you. I've got some family that lives over in St. Greg's place. I heard they all made it out alive. These guys are Falling Moon soldiers. Just as an aside, like, you didn't own the king or their kings. Will absolutely never come up in conversation because there's absolutely no reason for it to. But King Ava is descendant of laboratory mice, which the type of mice that they use in lab experiments have a higher propensity for aggression and for being intersex. Random interesting fact I learned about them. Diversity win. This monarch who's a massive asshole has a higher chance of being intersex. I mean, most of the species would have died off without labs keeping them bred anyway. Not a lot of good survival traits. What do you see on the enemy side, you say? Not much. They just sort of hold up in there. Chances are that they're just gonna chill until we decide we're actually gonna do anything. The man with the rifle turns to you and says, you much for games? Kind of bored, and honestly only one of us needs to be looking over the walls, so you down for some Perfect Break? Perfect Break is a gambling game that people like to play just to, you know, have a thing to do. It's common amongst soldiers to carry a dice just in case if someone challenges you. Believe in the heart of the cards? Would you guys like to gamble? Can we eat the dice after? Yes. Chat says yes, they want to gamble. Alright, so welcome to this dice game I made. Let me explain the rules. It's called Perfect Break. It's for 2 to 4 players. I figured that they wouldn't be playing any of the gambling games that we play because, yeah, why would they? So basically, you're going to roll 1 dice, and either it's going to be even or odd. So you'll say even or odd, and then you'll say single or group. If you say, for instance, even single, then that means that you're going to roll an even number, and the other person is not going to roll an even. They use tiny mouse-sized dice, of course. So if you get one of the things right, and your opponent gets none of the things right, then you got more correct guesses than they did. Did I test this with my wife? No, I did do some testing, though. And then if there's a chance that, you know, both people roll the same, like they both get, you know, for instance, you both say like even group, and then it ends up being like you roll a 2 and they roll a 4, so it is even and you are in a group. That means that, you know, you would have the exact same thing, so then whoever rolls higher. So in that case, if someone rolled a 2 and the other person rolled a 4, whoever rolled the 4 would be the person who would win that one. You can also call Perfect Break, which is sort of a crazy person thing to do. A Perfect Break is where everyone rolls the exact same number. So, for instance, everyone rolls 2s. Obviously, it's statistically unlikely, but it's a thing. Always be calling Perfect Break. They are 6-sided dice, standard dice. Do we get more reward if we call Perfect Break correctly? Perfect Break trumps anything and everything else. So Perfect Break is the automatic win condition. If you call it, it's sort of like getting a royal flush. You're not going to get it. Do you still have to call odd or even if you call a Perfect Break? No. If you lose, you should not eat your dice. That you wouldn't have a dice to play with anymore, and it would be sad. Looks like a majority of the people have chosen even single. So you say even single, and then he responds with odd single. Neither of you win. You both say single, though, so it's a tie. This isn't even war, but I'm still nervous. while you're rolling dice and stuff, you start to have a conversation. So, you're from Fallen Moon, right? Same here. A little bit like west of St. Greg's place. I had some cousins and stuff and extended family that lived in St. Greg's place. Do you know what happened there? Yeah, it sounds awful. How are the random numbers determined? I pre-rolled all the dice, and then I made their decisions separate from what the actual results are. I'm not cheating. I'm the opposite of cheating. So you go for perfect break. Kind of looks at you like, what the hell? But you roll the dice anyway. Oh, and he said even single, by the way. I'll tell you his answer on the next one. His next one is going to be even single. As an aside, the way I had him, just to make it clear that I'm not cheating, the way I determined his votes is I rolled a separate list of dice, and then his answers are what would have been the correct answer had he chose it for those, if that makes sense. Also, even single is also a really like gamer choice, I should say, because the highest you could possibly roll is a 6, which is an even. So if you say even single, then you're the only person rolling a 6. So then you would be the winner in that by default because you roll higher. I still haven't quite figured out the strategy to this game. Chat with 15 votes says perfect break again. He says, and I'm going to say it again this time, even single. Somehow you actually called the perfect break. Absolute gamer move. Greg wanders up because you guys have started to make a bit of a crowd. Hey, you mind if I join y'all? No, get in here. You're with Bree, right? Are you part of their crew? Yeah, we've been riding together for the last, I don't know, little while. Greg joins the battle. So the more players, the less likely a perfect break is. Exactly. And the more likely a group is. But if you can be in a single and you call it, that's a slightly better hand than calling a group. The other guy says odd group. Greg says odd group as well. Greg has apparently already played this game a few times and brought his own dice, so he's very aware of the situation. Chat goes with even group. The choices have been made. Greg wins. Greg. So, what's it like having Bree here as part of your crew? Like, probably it's kind of hard. I mean, you guys weren't there. What was up with that? We were delivering some documents. It was the assignment we're actually on. Just, you know, Bree kind of looked like the guy, so they're able to do the informant thing. Oh, that's wild. I was kind of wondering why, like, one lone tank commander or tank. I guess you're not the commander yet. Any chance that you get a promotion or anything? There's been no talk of it, but... So currently, Perfect Break is winning? Insane grind set. Perfect Break all the time, every time. Just as an aside, to roll two of the same thing, like to roll boxcars or snake eyes or something, that's a 16% chance, if I remember correctly. I don't know what it is on 3 dice. It just does not happen, unless if it does. Anyway, it's not as likely as calling evens or odds. I think I've made a pretty decent gambling game, if I do say so myself. Go for the Chad room, or the Chad maneuver, and say, perfect break, even! Like, hyper specific. We will only roll 2s, 4s, or 6s. I suppose that would trump perfect break. I mean, you got it once. The guy that you haven't introduced yourself to really yet, because he already knew you, says even group. Greg goes with odd group again. An absolute Chad move. You say perfect break. Everyone stares at you because that's insane. No one wins. Can we ask the other guy his name? Yeah, sure. It's Daniel. How's it going, man? Hey, Danielle. Just wondering, have you seen any merchant crows in the area? I'd like to talk to one of their commanders before we make our final decision. Isn't that like straight up a war crime, man? Like, I don't know, like, kind of figured you wouldn't do that. Like, let's let the neutral parties be neutral, man. No, I just have a question for... Oh, okay, I thought you were asking about, like, enemy position stuff. Should have known better than that. So, have you seen any around? Nah. Generally, they like to stay away from war zones. I mean, fair enough, I don't want to be here either, but, you know, we do what we do. The other guy says odd single. Greg says even single. You say perfect break like a normal person does. Daniel wins. Everyone's just kind of getting used to you rolling like a madman. Bree, you know you're not supposed to call perfect break on every one, right? Like, you don't generally win like that. You're going for style points here. We're not here for winning, we're here for glory. So you just haven't seen any merchant crows in the area in the last few days. Just really have this letter I'd like to send to my parents before anything crazy kicks off. Well, I'm sure there's some around here somewhere, but, you know, I would assume that you would have seen some coming in. I think that the King Ava ended up buying some stuff on the way in as well. Can we go find the king, get her ass slapped again? No. Both Greg and Dan both say even group. It looks like even group wins. So literally everyone calls even group. Greg kind of looks at you. Honestly, I expected you to go for perfect break again. No one wins. So if a 3, a 5, and a 2 get rolled and you call even single, do you win? If you rolled the 2, you do. If you rolled the 3 or the 5, you would need to call odd group. Or if someone who rolled the 2 called even group and you called like odd group, then you would have gotten it with the 3 or the 5 because you had more of the information correct in your guess. I've probably got to get back to actually watching stuff, and you guys probably should get back to the tank to, I don't know, do whatever tank people do. But it's been real nice hanging out with you guys. Y'all are real cool. Even group. Sure, why not? I'm feeling lucky. Greg kind of just sits there with a pensive look. Bree, I think you might have a point. I'm going to go with perfect break. Dan just kind of looks at both of you like, what the hell? I just feel it this time, Bree. I do. I got a feeling about these things. Greg's voting pattern is based on what I think is the best voting pattern, mixed with also combining that with I had him vote based on whatever the previous answer was. So he's influenced by whatever the correct answer on the last roll was. Again, not super relevant information, just thought it was neat. Mice AI. With a majority of the vote, you also go, you know what? Greg, you're right. We should always say perfect break, because when it happens, right? You and Greg do a high five. A low five, really, because you're trying not to get your heads blown off by enemy gunfire. But you do a little high five. Greg 5. And then roll your dice. Greg is very excited. Suck it, Dan! So while Dan did call even group, and this is an even group, perfect break always beats that. Let's call it here. Let's end it on a high note. Thanks, Daniel. This is a fun session. If there was wanted to send a message, you wouldn't send it through a crow. You just, you know, hands one off to, I don't know, the male people. Anyway, yeah, I should probably get back to work, but it was nice playing with you guys. Thanks. With that, I think that, yeah, that's all I've drawn for now.